amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. Whenever you look my video, whenever you watch my video, share the video to all platforms. Share it to family and friends. Share it in your WhatsApp group so that people can get information on what is happening in the contraption called Nigeria, mainly against the Biafrans, against the Duduas, against the indigenous people in the contraption called Nigeria. I try as much as possible to set the record straight. I don't preach hate speech. I don't speak against people. I set the record straight. The only important thing I do here is to make sure that the plight of the people remains on the front burner and the world will know the true story of what is going on in the contraption called Nigeria.
Today, and we are speaking to Chief Dele MOMODU, who is a media icon, certainly, and a presidential aspirant. Thanks for joining us this morning. Or should I just say Bob D? I'm even wondering how that will sound. President Bob D, right?
Well, it will sound very funky. Good morning, and how are you?
Okay, very well, thank you. Well, perhaps you want to take a bite at the conversation we had previously. I'm looking at some research documents. Of course, it's your specialty as well, research. And I found that the very first policy of government in Nigeria in terms of agriculture was in 1937. And so many others have come over the years. And now we have one of the foremost ones we have today is the Anchor Borrowers Program. The Operation Feed the Nation program, for instance, evolved into Green Revolution, into DFRI, and so many other things like that. So I'm wondering, from the policy perspective, is it a problem of policy for us or a problem of sustainability, or what exactly is it? Or is it a challenge of capacity to deliver on our policies, especially in agriculture?
Well, it's a problem of meritocracy. You see, any country where you don't do things by merit, you're always going to have a lot of problems. Nigeria is a place where you can pick anybody, almost anybody, to be your Minister of Agriculture, and it's just there to warm the seat. I used to read that if you want to know if a fish is bad, smell the head. If the head is bad, then it's likely the whole body will be rotten. So when we begin to do things properly all over the world, and I've operated globally, what I see is that government pays a lot of attention to education and to the institutions of learning. That is why even during elections, you will see that a lot of the debates are operated on university campuses. So you have researchers all over Nigeria, but are they allowed to make input into what goes on in government? So when you have a government that pays attention to research and gives due respect to the people you can describe as the experts, then you will see how things will begin to move. It's not just in agriculture. It is in every facet of our daily life in Nigeria. We see it everywhere. We see the rot. So we need to clear out the rot by not making politics our priority. Leadership is about managing people and resources. But in Nigeria, we pay more attention to politics, and our politicians are more interested in elections, and they are not interested in the next generation. So when you talk about policies in education, in agriculture, in housing, in transport, and so on and so forth, in infrastructure, it's the same story over and over again. And that is why people like us have decided to throw our hearts in the ring to say, look, we must do it differently, because you cannot continue to do the same things repeatedly and expect a different result. It's not going to fly. Now you can see all the hulabaloo about elections. Nobody is talking issues. Nobody is talking about the fact that our students are home. Nobody is talking to HASU. Nobody is engaging our doctors. Nobody is engaging on the issue of the judiciary. All the hanky-panky that you see everywhere. We must change our style of doing things, and it begins with changing the personnel. The dramatic personnel in Nigeria is so backward for a modern. I remember when I visited my governor, Godwin Obaseki in Edo State, he said we require urgently a new leadership that we understand how to manage a modern life. But we are still back in the prehistoric age.
Well, Chief, but we'll come to that leadership recruitment process in a bit, but still saying for a second or two on that agricultural thing, there are those who believe that we did very well living off agriculture in the First Republic. And the regions had, you know, sizable, friendly competition among themselves. We had the granite pyramid in the north, we had the cocoa in the south, southwest, and the palm oil in the east, and all of that. As a researcher and someone who wants to lead the country, do you think Nigeria has a chance living off agriculture again?
I have no doubt in my mind about it. As I said, and I will continue to repeat, it's all a leadership problem. Once you have a failure of leadership, everything is affected. If you have a little boil on your face, you feel it all over your body. The problem of Nigeria is so gargantuan, but at the same time, it is very easy to tackle if the politicians will just make the necessary sacrifice. Without leadership, everything you are talking about, whether it's electricity, whether it's roads, whether it's water, whether it's healthcare, nothing is going to go away. You can see
how?
in the last 7 years
My apologies.
far we have come.
Yeah.
Before then, you can see between Yaradua and President Jonathan. So everything is a continuum. Once you repeat the same people, the same set of people with the same set of ideas, it continues. So the problem of Nigeria continues. Look, in the last 29 years, we have suffered untold hardship. And yet nobody has asked why. How come we are not able to get out of those challenges? It is because of the failure of leadership. So talking about agriculture, you cannot take it in isolation. Nothing exists in isolation. You must go to the root cause, and the root cause is the fact that the people you have today, once they grab power. I read somewhere yesterday, someone say, let's grab power first, then we can share power later. So with that kind of mindset, who is going to pay attention to agriculture? Okay. Agriculture is not just about growing, crops. It is about what you do with the crops that you grow. Where does it end up? I was driving the other day through Maiduguri. I was driving through Ilorin. You will see mangoes. You will see fruits wasting away.
Well, let's talk about this.
Talking about the end product.
So let's talk about the current structure, the current arrangement as it is right now. I mean, inflation, food inflation specifically, has been rising by the day, and that has affected the inflation figures in general. So people go to market, and the 1,000 naira they could use to purchase a lot of other things about 2-3 years ago, now the value is reduced. With the current structure, with the current reality as it is, what would you have done differently to reverse this trend?
Yeah, as I said, you see, if you have the right people in the right places, it is not difficult to reverse these things. I'll give you an example. In 2015, when President Muhammadu Buhari had just been elected, a lot of things started moving quickly because a lot of people were under the impression that, hey, we have a new man in town, a no-nonsense man who will not allow us to continue business as usual. But a few weeks down the line, when they saw that, oh, the man was actually not really prepared, he was not ready, people started going back to their old ways. So when you talk about food, look, to transport food materials, let's say from the north to the south, where are the roads? I drove from Lagos to Ibadan, to Oyo, to Ogbomoso, to Ilorin just last week. I could not believe that we're in the 21st century. I looked at the trailers. That's why every day you see the trailers, they will crash into the bush, they will kill people, and you lose a lot of food items. By now, the money we're spending on bringing those trains moving from Lagos to Ibadan at snail speed, if we decided that we're going to concentrate on movement of goods alone, it would have eased a lot of things. The gridlock in our Papa, if we decided that we were going to use trains to move those goods, you will see that the gridlock will disappear. So when you talk about food, what do they do elsewhere? We don't need to reinvent the wheel. In America, in London, you must be able to process what you have produced. The farmers are producing on a daily basis. If you talk about Tropicana orange juice, it is fresh orange juice. It is a farm product.
Okay.
In Nigeria, we are drinking concentrates, chemicals on daily basis that affects our health. When we have the best of oranges, the best of mangoes, the best of pineapples.
Well, there's so much ground to cover.
Ghana. So let's leave in Ghana.
Pardon me. There's so much ground to cover, Chief.
Every day, yes.
There's so much ground to cover, and I know you're itching to take on some of this question. So we'll maybe leave agriculture for now and talk about that leadership question, which, I mean, I think affects all the other sectors. So at least when we're talking leadership, it's also affecting agriculture, the economy, and all of that. And I'd like to take an excerpt from an off-the-cuff remark you made on leadership. And this was an interview you had with Mike Awoyinfa. And you said that Nigeria is the only country I see where someone fails in a particular class and is insistent that he must be promoted to the next class. We must begin to ask questions. You said, what did you do with power? And I think it's also the same case for you. This is a sort of promotion. I mean, you've been in the private sector as a journalist, media mogul, and you're seeking some sort of promotion. And I ask you the same question. What did you do with power?
Well, the power that I have is the power of the media, is the power of public relations, is the power of interconnectivity. I have been a global brand for decades. So, and what I have done is to affect not just Nigeria, but Africa and the world. I have built new generations of leaders, new generation of artists, new generations of entrepreneurs, and new generation of technocrats. What I have done is to show that Africa is not synonymous with famine, with diseases, and with wars. Today, without being the president of Nigeria, I've been traveling around I've covered the whole 6 regions. What is the biggest problem facing Nigeria today? Disunity, insecurity. I am the only presidential aspirant today touching those things frontally. Going to Maiduguri, last week I walked in Maiduguri market. People said it was suicidal. I said, no, we must go there. We must feel what the people are feeling. I went to see Sheikh Gumi in Kaduna. He told me, he said, Dele, Nigeria needs you. I went to Ilorin. The emir prayed fervently that God will make it happen, that we can have people like you who are not just interested in politics, but in developing the country. I went to see the emir of Kano. I went to see the Talakawas in Kano. Look, Nigeria is not difficult to govern. My appeal to our governors who are fighting is that they should come back together very quickly. Because right now, where this present government has left us is so dangerous. We're very close to breaking up. It's just God that has kept us together. I'm the only one reaching out to Sunday Igboho. I'm reaching out to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, speaking to his lawyers. Yesterday, I was in Jos to see Prophet El-Buba. These were Christians who were feeling threatened in the north. I'm the only one doing it. While my co-contestants are gathering the delegates and thinking they can buy them with money and hijack Nigeria for themselves and their cronies. This is what I have done with power. I have spoken truth to power. Whether the person in government is my friend or not, I have spoken truth relentlessly. It has landed me in detention. It landed me in exile for 3 years. I couldn't come back to my dear beloved country. I never planned to live outside Nigeria. I was forced to go because I was speaking truth to power. I told President Buhari in 2015 what to do. I said, I advised President Jonathan free of charge. They didn't listen to me. We saw it ended. I said, sir, I'm going to do the same thing to you, and I've been doing it, speaking to him. They are still not listening, and we can see where we are today. So I've done my bit. I will continue to do my bit. I'm appealing to Nigerians not to allow politicians to use money to buy our country. No billionaire has ever governed in Nigeria. That reassures me. So with all the money that I saw, look, I'm in Abuja now. Go, you cannot even, to get a car here, I have to get a taxi. All cars have already been bought up by politicians. So that is where so if you spend billions just to get a ticket, then spend billions to run an election, then what do you expect at the end of the day? So I'm the only one who is a fresh candidate, fortunately, who is both from South-South and from Southwest, and connecting powerfully with the Southeast. Last year, February, before Nnamdi Kanu was arrested, he said if we had leaders like Dele MOMODU, we won't be doing what we were doing. Because I was able to tell my friends in the Southeast that, look, you have the brains of the Chinese, of the Japanese, of the Indians, of the Koreans combined. Any government that respects the Southeast will go far. There will be no Biafra if there is justice and equity. There will be no Yoruba nation if there is justice. And all the people talking about restructuring, they are talking about the injustices in Nigeria. And I'm happy that I'm in a position to reunite Nigeria, and I'm already doing it. You don't have to wait until you hijack power. People are saying, when we get power, then we'll start. No, that would be irresponsible of us. Okay. Anybody who has power, and I have media power, channels has media power. That's why I'm here. Use that power positively. All our young artists who are commanding heights all over the world, shutting down O2, shutting down Caesar's Palace in America. This is the time for them to come together and let us rescue our country.
But Chief, gratifying that you've begun to speak to the segment that I want you to address now. You had, thrown this hat into the ring before. I don't know, perhaps there are some lessons learned at that point that you may want to reference in this question, because I remember I belonged to an online community where you spoke about the approach of young people to you when you vied for office at the time. Do you want to speak to that community now, because they are the largest voting population, and yet they are the most untrusting of the system. Now, that's an irony of sorts. What's missing here, especially when we talk about the young people being, first of all, interested in Nigeria enough to go out and cast their votes for anyone at all? How are you bridging that conversation with young people?
There are various layers of disconnect between the young generation and the old generation. Number one, they were brought up to believe that nothing good can ever come out of Nigeria. They were brought up to distrust any politician. And that is why I am begging PDP that you have a unique opportunity. You have a man who is not too old and who is not too young, with a global appeal, not just in Nigeria, who is already interacting with world leaders, with presidents. You have that opportunity now. Don't restrict yourself to politicians, because the mistake is to think only politicians can do it. I'm happy that you know the demographics very well, that the younger population is the largest voting population. The reason why the youths don't go out to vote is that they cannot see any difference. So if PDP presents a man or a woman who they feel is just one of them, they will say, oh, the devil we know is better than the one we don't know, so why don't we just leave the APC to carry on, because there is no difference. Number two is that we need to reassure the young ones that we are very serious about changing Nigeria. So we need people who can come up with policy. You can see that everywhere I've been going, I've been presenting my books because they contain all the problems of Nigeria and the solutions are profiled in the past. There is no politician doing that. Everybody is asking me where am I going to get dollar. I must pay 40 million naira in the next couple of days, whether I like it or not. Otherwise, I'm automatically out of the race. So these are issues that bother the young ones. So my appeal to my young friends is that don't give up. You must begin to do what is being done elsewhere. In America, from $5, $10 that they contribute, they become stakeholders. If you don't invest in your future, then you are going nowhere. Imagine if a combination of Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Olamide, all of them come together and they say we throw our weight behind one candidate. A candidate who they know is not a career politician. A man who has accomplished so much in his private life. I can tell you it will go far. Imagine if the governors of PDP today who say, especially the southern ones who say they want power to come to the south, and they throw their weight behind a fresh candidate and make that sacrifice. Trust me, nobody can beat them.
And I'm glad you have...
the history of elections in Nigeria. In 1979, President Shagari won election just by a tiny fraction, not more than 600,000 ahead of Awolowo, who was limited to the southwest. Whereas if Chief Awolowo and the Owele of Onitsha, Chief Nnamdi Azikiwe had combined, they would have defeated Shagari. So it's very easy for the young ones to use their numerical strength to support a Dele MOMODU. Because if you sit back and say, oh, let him go and do it, it's impossible.
Okay, I'm glad you also touched on, pardon me.
Risk they must take.
I'm glad you also touched on a very important point, which is the cost of this whole process. We'll also come to security, which is a big topic today, but I just wanted you to speak to, 40 million naira, for example, to pick up a form in the PDP. And you sound as though, you will depend on contributions. I've seen some of your posts online, where you've appreciated people for sending in, varying amounts and all of that. And I'm wondering, if your ambition or your mission, as you have called it, is dependent on contributions, and I don't know how forthcoming that can be. What happens, because you have to raise 40 million naira for the form, the whole process? Some say it cost you 2 billion naira. I recall that when you were in Labour Party, there was that controversy, that debate before you had to leave about how much had to be brought for the whole process. So what happens really if you're not able to meet up with that financial cost to go the whole hog?
Oh, I can tell you that you should salute my audacity. You should salute my effrontery to challenge the status quo. The 40 million will be met. My young friends are contributing. I am grateful to those who contributed 500 naira. I'm sure if they had more, I don't know these guys. We're going to publish their names, those who donated 1,000 naira. And I can tell you that we're meeting that target, and it will be paid. It will be paid in full. And the whole world will see that we are serious about what we are doing. You see, the problem is that a lot of Nigerians suffer from what Paulo Freire, the Brazilian author, in his book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, called, you see, the oppressive man respects only his oppressor. We have been so oppressed that we believe that nothing good can come out of any other person. So when you talk defensively, oh, Dele, where is he going to find the money? But I'm telling you, we're changing the narrative. I'm so excited that we're going to pay that 40 million. Before the expiry date, you will hear about it. And the whole world will hear about it, and they will know that Nigerians are now more serious than ever. It is for our politicians to step aside. And if they refuse to step aside, we must retire them. We must retire our yesterday. It's part of our slogans.
But Chief, why don't you challenge
Nigeria for all?
But pardon me, Chief, why don't you challenge the PDP?
That's what we do.
Pardon me, why don't you challenge your party? Say, I mean, 40 million naira, isn't that a bit too much? Especially if we want to have more people like you in the race. I imagine they see 40 million and they're scared because, I mean, we know what the current economy says. So why not challenge a party and say, can we bring this down so we can open the field to more people?
No. You see, I'm not going to challenge them because the next thing you are going to get, even from the people you expect to understand, is that, oh, so when you knew you didn't have money, why did you go into the race? We want to show them that no man should spend his own personal hard work and sweat on politics. All of us must be participants, we must be partakers, we must be investors in our future.
Okay.
And I am assuring you that we will get it. The first lesson I learned the last time was that we're operating from a fringe local political party that did not have national appeal. Now I'm in PDP. So that is going to change. And I also want to tell you what I learned the last time. Some people brought money during our primaries overnight. I was busy distributing 2 copies of ovation to the rooms of every delegate. You will not believe it. Especially the northern delegates. I doffed my hat to them. I did not lose a single vote from them. They said, no, this man looks like a man of integrity. And I've been going around the north. And that is, they are opening doors to me. That, okay, if it's a Dele MOMODU, maybe there is hope for Nigeria. Let me tell you, a lot of people are tired. Everywhere I go, in the airports, they are tired. The biggest of the biggest. I've interacted with the Dangotes, with the Adenugas, with everybody is bleeding. The cost of doing business, whenever I talk to Femi Otedola, you'll be shocked about the complaints galore, about how difficult it is even to manage some of these things. So you can see, I've been going everywhere.
Okay.
I know that people are afraid of speaking to government because they know our government can be vindictive.
Well, Chief,
yes,
there are always...
Trust me, we are working behind the scene. There
are so many things, always so many things to discuss, you know, when we're talking about leadership recruitment in Nigeria. The most prominent of the issues, you've spoken to some of them, would be security or a lack of it. But we don't have so much time now, but if you can at least try to look at shortfalls, I mean, in the space, and how you intend to break it. Fast forward into May 29, for instance. What would be the first steps you or any president should take to checkmate the security challenges we have on our hands?
The first thing is there must be justice and equity. When people are disgruntled, they will do anything.
And how do you intend to do that?
Sheikh Gumi, we're talking.
How do you intend to do that?
We're talking. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, that the first thing is to tackle the issue of lack of unity. People are disgruntled. People are angry. When people are angry, they will do anything. People are frustrated. No jobs, no employment. The education has collapsed. Students spend more time at home than in their schools. I'm reaching out to ASU already. I'm not the president of Nigeria. I'm talking to Sheikh Gumi in Kaduna. I'm talking to Sunday Igboho in the southwest. I'm talking to the people of Nnamdi Kanu. You must talk to everybody. Every Nigerian must be contacted. Every Nigerian must be protected. All this issue of you are just sharing power and sharing money must end. I am appealing to the PDP governors. God has deposited a Dele MOMODU in your midst. I'm the only one now from the south-south who is also from the southwest. There is nowhere Tinubu can enter in the southwest that I cannot sleep in the place. There is nowhere. There is nowhere in the entire night. When I went to Maiduguri, where I slept was in the home of an APC chieftain, Kashim Ibrahim Imam. He's been my friend of decades. You need a Nigerian who can douse the tension in Nigeria. The tension is so much that, look, you can almost cut it with blade. So that is the problem. We must do something urgently by changing the leadership. If you don't change the leadership and you bring the same old emperors to come back, they are going to come and live like emperors. But the time has come for us to retire them if they will not retire honorably. Thank you, sir.
Chief Dele MOMODU, publisher Ovation Magazine International and presidential aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you so much for being a part of our conversation this morning.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.